Hello, and welcome back to the Faye Banner Review, where we talk about everyone's favorite banner theme and everyone's least favorite types of units on these banners. Today, we have a brand new summer banner featuring some Three Houses units and some Heroes original characters. Or should I say Christmas banner, because it truly is a miracle that we didn't get another snake. Thank you for not releasing a new version of her, may she rest in piss. And as per tradition, I will be using this coveted line graph that may or may not be a line graph at the end of the day to rank the brand new summer banner. Today's ranking will be based on how many times IS had reprinted the same unit with the same gimmick this year. And if you want content, then make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Some would say the content is kinda neat.
Nectar on the way.
First up, we have Summer Yuri, and yep, that's him right there in the digital flesh. I'm honestly surprised it's taken this long for him and the other Ashen Wolves to get alts, considering how long this game has been going on for, but I'm glad it finally happened. Three Houses tends to get a lot of content too, so I can't even imagine where most of that has gone towards. Oh yeah, let's see. Summer Yuri comes with Tangy something Sunday, which is a slaying dagger that inflicts speed and defense penalties, sabotage, and panic at the start of the turn and after he takes an action, gets a bunch of stats during combat, upwards of 25 true damage and 15 true damage reduction based on his current bonuses and the active penalties on the foe. He gets some HP after combat and inflicts scowl on the foe during combat. He also comes with Foul Play and the True Draw Me, and it will never not be funny when they decide to upgrade pre-existing PRF skills and add the prefix the, so you know it's new. The True Draw Me, the Air to Light, the Fire Emblem. The True Draw Me grants Flat Canto 2, the Lookout Force effect but with Foul Play instead, extra movement and dodge to himself at the start of the turn, inflicts speed and defense penalties as well as 50% damage reduction piercing on foes within 3 rows and columns, nullifies the stall effect, and grants 7 true damage and true damage reduction during combat. You know how many could generally assume that more text equals better? I don't think that's really the case here. I will say though, I really do like the support he comes with. Being able to use Foul Play twice with his assist and C-slot is really cool, and it could open up some potential for really aggressive playstyles. And at the very least, his debuffs are global, so they're extremely easy to set down, even if he's not being aggressive himself. But otherwise, I'm not so sure if that's enough to really go out of your way for him. That's not even mentioning his own combat, which seems to be fine enough, but I doubt it's going to be doing much beyond cleanup, which definitely limits how much mileage you could potentially get out of him as a unit. Also, his PRF C-slot is longer than his weapon, so it's clearly not that good. He's definitely going to need a fair bit of assistance with his combat if you really want to use him for anything besides support. Or you could use the funny inheritable damage reflection weapon, brought to you by Demote Tethys, available at your local Divine Code shop. You definitely shouldn't ditch his weapon, by the way. Summer Yuri also comes with a couple of inheritables, including Full Disarm and a brand new A-slot in Attack Speed Waylay, that's fun to say, which grants 8 attack and speed during combat, an additional 2 attack and speed if the foe's HP is at full value, 7 true damage, and no follow-up if they're faster. If that sounded remotely familiar, then you'd be right to think that, because it's basically just perfect attack and speed with some true damage. Ooh, I guess new inheritable skills aren't safe from being the same thing, but newer either. But for what it's worth, that doesn't make the skill bad at all. It's still a really strong inheritable A-slot, and perfect being locked to infantry means this new skill has more flexibility. Never mind, it's locked to daggers. Why do they do this every single time? And other than that, that sure is Yuri. He seems decent overall, at least on the support side of things. You could probably do some fun and interesting things with the double Foul Play and his mid-turn debuffs. Or you could use those orbs on a strictly better combat and support unit. And speaking of which, next, there's Haythrun, and she sure is Haythrun, but new. It's kind of expected at this point with Heroes OCs from the previous book to show up on one of the summer banners with newer, stronger kits. But at the same time, I can see why it's not everyone's cup of tea. I sure love OCs, thank you IS. Let's see, Summer Haythrun comes with a Slaying Distant Counter Beast Stone that grants attack, defense, and res bonuses, penalty nullification to those stats, and a guaranteed follow-up to any ally within 3 rows and columns of her, while Haythrun herself gets 14 attack, defense, and res during combat, penalty nullification to those stats, a guaranteed follow-up, true damage and true damage reduction based on 20% of her res stat, and all the beast infantry bonuses when she's transformed. Summer Haythrun also comes with the Divine Nectar that has built-in Bulwark, grants Divine Nectar to herself and allies at the start of the turn, and grants attack, defense, and res bonuses, 7 true damage, and 7 true damage reduction during her combat. Okay, it's not called the Divine Nectar, but it would have been really funny if they kept committing to that. I know unit diversity isn't exactly the strongest between many alts that have a pre-established gimmick or niche, but this one seems to take more of a frontlining role this time around, which is something at least. People did run Mythic Haythorn as a frontliner in the past because she was, and still kinda is, really tanky, but this one seems to lean into it more. Of course, any unit that just gets plus 30 or more to their attack, defense, and res, on top of some true damage, and true damage reduction is going to be pretty good, right? Also, innate distant counter and bulwark is a nice touch for just sitting in the front and soaking damage. I'm not sure how great she'll be when it comes to dealing damage, but that could always be patched up with some support like Desert Marissa for brave hits and Legendary Black Knight for damage reflection. Or both because you're an awful person. But is her tanking enough to beat Baby Camilla, who just naturally gets 99 bajillion damage, desperation, and can abuse the Erica ring? I doubt it. Summer Haythorn also comes with Ice Wall, Defense Res Fortune, and Lagoose Friend, which is actually really nice fodder. Defense Res Fortune, sure, yeah, whatever, but it is one of the better stat combinations for it, and it still nullifies the foe's attack bonuses, which makes it a really good tanking A slot for them. Ice Wall and Lagoose Friend together is also a really good combination too if you're looking to update any of your infantry stuff. There's not really anything new here, but it is strictly good. But because of that, there's only so much I could really say about her inheritables. Ivy Lost Choose Your Legends. And other than that, that sure is Haythorn. It's about what you'd expect out of a new Haythorn for the most part. Better combat and support than the older variants. It's not the most exciting, but it is what makes her the best unit on this banner. But that's spoilers, forget I said that. And then there's Summer Deer Dude, and I'm genuinely surprised they decided to pull this one out right before his Choose Your Legends ult. I figured they'd put any other OC from Book 8 here. Besides Ratatoskr, I don't know if they just hate her or something, but she really should just get an ult by this point. I am holding out for the rat bros out there, truly. But hey, unlike every other demote that isn't named New Year's Tana, there's actually stuff to talk about with him because he gets a guaranteed PRF. Or I guess two. Welcome back, New Year's Tana. Let's see. Summer Deer Dude comes with Ocean Fit Antler, which grants attack and defense bonuses, the Dull status, and the guaranteed follow-up status to himself and allies at the start of the turn, as well as plus 3 extra stats to any visible bonus he and any ally within 2 spaces have. He gets upwards of 14 attack, defense, and res during combat, true damage based on the highest amount of visible bonuses between him and allies, true damage reduction based on 50% of the highest total, special jumps based on total bonuses divided by 12. Oh, brother, we have division now? Power creep really has gone too far. Oh, also he has slaying and beast cavalry bonuses when he's transformed. Yeah, you know, those are pretty cool too. Summer Deer Dude also comes with an upgraded PRF B slot, the Divine Strength. Okay, it's not called that, but I'm still running with the bit. Which grants flat Canto 2, removes the Beast Transformation condition, removes all penalties inflicted on him at the start of the turn, inflicts -7 attack and defense on the foe if he has more attack than them, another -7 attack and defense on the foe if he has more defense, and another -5 attack and defense during combat, gets 50% damage reduction piercing, and restores 7 HP to himself after combat. Okay, so you know how I said there would be stuff to talk about this time around? Well, I'm not gonna lie. This is just the mythic version, but better. That's not a bad thing, of course, depending on who you ask. He has more stat swings and stuff, so he's still going to hit just as hard, if not slightly harder now. Bonus-based true damage and over -20 to the foe's attack and defense will only be so bad, you know? He does have better support at least, because bonus doubler is really, really bad. I'd much rather have dull and guaranteed follow-up, so that's a nice enough change. Otherwise, I had to double check what made his PRFB any different from the original, because they really do look the same. They mostly just moved the Canto from his weapon into the B slot and tweaked a couple things, like extra stat swings and damage reduction piercing, which, you know, that's fine enough. The original was pretty good, so it only needed so many changes anyway. But it really is just the mythic version, but new. I can only imagine how innovative and unique his Brave version will be. Summer Deer Dude also comes with some inheritable skills in Bonfire and Attack Defense Wild. And if you thought I had very little to say about his PRF and B slot, then it's gonna look so long compared to what I have to say here. They're really just standard enough skills, which, yeah, sure, that's cool. But Wild on a demote, that's kinda wild, ain't it? That's all the commentary it's getting. And other than that, that sure is Deer Dude. I honestly don't think my input on him matters here because I think most people just want Summer Deer Dude, which that is completely valid. But you know, I heard liking and subscribing would help bless your summons for him. Let me know how that goes. And last, and certainly last on the banner, we have Duo, Happy, and Constance, and that's pretty neat. I said it earlier with Yuri, but it's nice seeing more units get alts that never really had much of anything before that point. I know it's more 3 houses, but I also think it's less about the game title and more on the units they choose from said title. Too bad they mostly just choose 3 houses for content in this game, but that's neither here nor there, am I right? Let's see, Summer Happy comes with Summer Chilling, which is a Dragon and Beast effective tome with built-in Omni Guidance, allows any Dragon and Beast unit to teleport to Happy within 6 spaces of her during their action, and when Kanto triggers, creates a special jump of 2 to herself at the start of the turn, as well as attack and speed bonuses, Treachery, and the Dull bonus to herself and allies on top of Kanto 1 to any Dragon and Beast ally, gets a bunch of attack and speed during combat, true damage based on 20% of her speed, and player phase Desperation, on top of a dual button that grants Happy a special jump of 1, extra movement, and the Incited bonus, and the button can be used every 3rd turn. They're fine, I guess. I think my standards for combat stuff is much higher compared to a lot of other people, so I could just be harsh here. Still, we got enough bonuses that just heal so much at the start of turn to where AoEs aren't really in the best spot right now. Honestly, I think the most interesting part of their kit to me is the super warping stuff they give out to dragons and beasts, which could lead into a lot of potential stuff. 6 space warp for them is a lot, and to put it into perspective, that's just the same range as legendary Sakura. You can really think of it as just salvage for dragons and beasts for the most part. I think the effectiveness of it will just depend on the most notable dragons and beasts we have, which isn't a lot, but there's still some noteworthy mentions anyway. Armors, of course, which is great for easy movement and getting in around places. Some infantry initiators could probably do well enough for hit and run purposes. I ran out of ideas, sorry. They do give out nice bonuses though, so there's that. Summer Happy also comes with Blazing Light, Verge of Death, Speed Res Far Resound, and Speed Res Crux, which are perfectly okay skills. Not like perfect attack speed, which is just worse than attack speed Waylay, but none of this stuff is locked to daggers only, so that's immediately better in my eyes. It's good enough for any flying mage or cavalry if you're in the need for the fodder, but it's definitely not stuff you should be on the lookout for. Not like active lookout or lookout force, which are also dagger locked. Thanks, IS! And other than that, that sure is Happy and Constance. I'm not really impressed with them, but the warping thing could be really funny for some team compositions that have dragon or beast units on them. But remember, folks, favorites over meta, any day, every day. Unless she somehow turns out to be super meta, in which case I'm going to look really stupid. And then there's the free stuff, and who doesn't like free stuff, am I right? This time around we have Summer Balthus, who's our latest and not the greatest Tempest Trials freebie unit. He comes with Osseous Trident Plus, which grants Spectrum 5, true damage based on the highest total bonuses between the unit and allies, and 50% damage reduction piercing, which isn't actually that bad. I think it's a nice enough option that isn't Johanna Lance, but you definitely want some units that can help you abuse it like Eikthenir, since he could raise the cap on it. 36 true damage per hit is a lot for any weapon. Still, it's not bad on its own by any means. There's also the Sacred Seals, an attack defense link, and Speed Res Rain. Both of these are pretty good, honestly, and I had my expectations so low because of Rouse Speed Res on the last Tempest Trials. Really, I just have no complaints with any of the free stuff this time around. But that also means I can't make a funny and engaging joke to transition to the final segment of the video. And now that we've gone over the brand new summer units, I think it's time we rank the banner on the line graph that may or may not be a line graph at the end of the day. And would you look at that? The brand new summer banner has earned an 8 out of 10 on the line graph. I honestly don't remember how many times they did it this year, but it's probably at least 8. It's getting an 8. And you may be wondering to yourself, should I give in to my urges and spend the orbs on this very clearly bait banner? And normally I would answer these types of questions with sincerity and honesty. and I'm still going to do that. I would say this banner is probably not worth spending orbs on. I don't think any of the units here besides Summer Heathrun are all that crazy, and even then, you don't really need Heathrun per se. Summer Yuri does have sick movement capabilities thanks to double foul play and some nice debuffs, but I'm not sure if that's enough to make him worthwhile. Summer Happy, I think, could have potential. Sorry, I mean the potential to be really good, though. I'm not that confident in her combat capabilities, but it should be good enough for dealing with dragons and beasts at the very least. And then there's the best save in the game that ignores dragon effectiveness anyway, so... Summer Geodude is a demote, so it's not terribly difficult to get him if you want to go for that at least, and, you know, he's a bit stronger than his mythic version if that means anything to you. Summer Heathrun really does seem like the best of everything on the banner though. Good frontliner, solid support, very hot, but I also don't think she's so necessary for many people, especially if you find the action economy to be the most appealing factor. We just have a lot of units that can do that right now, and yeah, it's a fine enough banner, but not really that crazy overall, although that's not really anything new to summer banners. I think we only had a couple outlier summer banners that were actually really strong, and that's about it. Most of these banners can just sell off fan service, which, you know, that's valid enough. But even if this banner was really amazing, you still have the Emblem Micaiah banner, which initially I was strong on, and I still kind of am, but I gave it some more thought, which, whoa, that's a first, am I right? Whoever said that, shut your mouth. Micaiah, Sakura, and Alm sharing is really great, but there's a very, very high chance you will have to summon on any other color that isn't colorless, which is like the worst thing of all time. There is nobody on any of the other colors that people want to be pity broken by. Besides Emblem Sigurd.
I am Sigurd.
That said, Micaiah is rerunning in August with most of the other emblems, which might be a better time to grab her. TBH, 2BH, to be quite H. Also, Choose Your Legends is next month if you'd rather save your orbs for that, and there's a good chance it'll be a strictly better banner anyway. But of course, that means having to skip out on Summer Geodude, which I'd imagine isn't really negotiable for many people. Have fun having no orbs for Brave Geodude in 6 weeks.